All right, let's see if I can get this to get this to work. I had to do some adjustments on my end to get the stream to turn on correctly. But I think I might have fixed it, and so here we go. I'm gonna wait for some people to join. Let's see. See if I can get this. How do I view this? Do I just streaming? Everything's working. Now I just want to view the chat. Excuse me for one moment. All right, I'm just waiting to see if we got some people on. Let me click over to this and see how many people we have. Got one or two on YouTube here. Restream is supposed to be telling me how many we have, but it's not really telling me. I'm not sure. Still trying to get used to Restream. It's really nice, but I'm trying to get used to it. I don't want as many people to see this as possible. Hey there, Logan. Robloxia. I'm guessing you play Roblox. That's pretty cool. I'm not really into Roblox, but my kids are. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can get this to tell me how many people are watching. If you go to the multi-stream thing, I do this. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So now we got it on Facebook and on Twitter and Twitch, and we've got a couple watching on YouTube. Before we really get into anything here, there is some active weather going on, so I figure we can just take a look at the active weather for a little bit until we get more people on. And then we'll just kind of go after it. So, got a little storm over here by Quana. I really wish I'd have been out there, but I had this stream to do. And so I decided that this was more important. These storms aren't going to last for too long, although I could be entirely wrong, and these storms might end up down here by Wichita Falls. But let's play this. They are moving basically due south. Except for this one over here, it's kind of moving. Yeah, it's moving due south. So let's see if we get a few more people on. Let's see. Let's go to the chat. Not seeing anything in the chat, but maybe I just need to go take a look at it on there. Okay, yeah. Oh, I see you got some radar there on your icon. It doesn't show up on Restream, but I went over to YouTube and I can see it. So that's pretty cool. What is that? GR level X? I can't tell because the icon is so small. But let's keep going, and we're gonna look at a few things once more people get on. We got one on Facebook. 2 of you are watching on YouTube, and nobody's watching on Twitch, but I don't really have any followers on Twitch. So if you're on Twitch and you'd like to follow Thunder Chasers on Twitch, then feel free to head on over there and you can follow us. But we'll be on all of the platforms, so it doesn't really matter. YouTube is the primary platform. Our Facebook page is kind of been dormant for a while, but trying to do some live streams to get it going again. I'd really we'll wait. We'll wait a few more minutes before we get started, and we'll just start talking about RadarOmega and all of its new features. And if you've got questions, then I'll answer those. And if you're watching this on the replay, then hopefully we answered your questions. I'm gonna go into the comments on YouTube and see if we can answer some of the questions that y'all have been asking. Matter of fact, let me pull that up right now. And let me see if I can scroll down. Okay, so there's a couple questions I can answer, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at those. One of them is from Drew. It says, would you be able to tell me what setting I need to have it on to track the direction of the storm and be able to see the colors of the storm? I'm using RadarOmega on my iPad and phone, but I use other apps for my laptop. So the instructions here will be the same whether you're using it on iPad, iPhone, or laptop, or PC. The difference is one you're using your finger and the other one you're using your mouse. That's really the only difference. RadarOmega team has done a really good job of making the app the same across the board. So let's go ahead and do that real quick while we're sitting here and watching this play. If I remember exactly where it is, let's see. They've made it where it's all icons now, which is the part of the new interface. I'm not sure I really dig that, but you know, it is what it is. There's gonna be data overlay more than likely. Let's see what the you can click this little arrow right here, and it'll show you the actual names. So you have spotter, network, next registry, lightning detection, storm reports, surface fronts. So none of those seem to be it. Control panel, probably in radar settings. Yes, so it's under radar settings, which is the you see the little radar icon down here, and that's the same icon that's over here. I don't have my Epic pen going. Let me see if I can start that real quick. Then I can actually draw on the screen. Let's see how many you still watch. Okay, we got 6 total people, 3 on Facebook, 3 on YouTube. Let me get the Epic pen out. So right, ooh, that's black. I need it to be white, or we'll use yellow. Right here is where you're going to click for the storm tracks, and then this section right here are your storm tracks. And since we've got storms going, we can go ahead and illustrate that. Let me turn Epic Pen off and get rid of everything. You can also move this around. I think you can do that on iPad too, but maybe not. But on Windows you can. So we'll turn the initial point on, and then you'll start seeing all these little icons pop up. These are storm track icons, I guess you'd call them. It gives you the storm cell. There's storm cell identification and tracking. It's actually what it's called, SCIT. This tells you it's moving east-southeast at 18 as of 7 p.m. The max DBZ, or the max reading from the radar, is 38. VIL is 2, which is vertically integrated liquid. Kind of gives you the density of the liquid. 2 is not very much. Because then you look up here, this is moving south at 22, and your VIL is 50, which is a lot more. There is probably some small hail in this storm, and it is severe warned for 1.5-inch hail, so that's not necessarily small, is it? 1.5 inch still, and then continued warning. But if you want the track line, this kind of gives you an idea of where the track line is. Now you can look at this and you can kind of see that it's sort of accurate, but not really, because these are moving more due southerly, and this has got it moving kind of due southwesterly, and that's not. So the storm tracks you kind of have to take with a grain of salt, especially this one. If you look at this one right here, let me point it out. That storm track is completely off. It's not even anywhere remotely correct. So you can see that it's not very reliable. I wouldn't rely on storm tracks. I usually like to look at this. Actually, this if you look at this one, so I guess it is kind of moving south-southwesterly. What's the warning say? If you click the three little dots, it'll give you some text, and you can read the warning text. And it says it's moving southwest. Oh, located 6 miles southwest of El Marina, moving south at 20. So they're not really giving it a southwesterly, even though the polygon is pointed that way. But that's all right. Let me go look at the chat, see if you guys are asking questions. It doesn't look like it so far. So we'll keep going here. So that's basically storm tracks. They're pretty simple. You can do a track cone. You can do time points, so then you can click on it. You can see at what time it's going to be at that point on the line. And that's referring to this part right here. Will be here at 7:54. I like to draw my own, really, because I can't do it when I'm in the field, but when I'm sitting here at the computer, I can. So let me go ahead and let me adjust this reflectivity gate filter. Turn it 5. Yeah, that should be fine. I'm gonna close that. That gets rid of some of the clutter, but I don't want to get rid of all of it. So if I'm gonna draw, let me stop this. I can kind of draw a line. I'm gonna say, okay, it's moving this direction, and it says, let's just say it's 22 miles an hour because I can't remember what the actual speed was. And then it'll give you a list over here. We've gone over this in a previous video, but it kind of tells you in a giant list how long it's going to take for the storm to get there. Very useful if you are, see, 286 minutes for Wichita Falls. I actually don't think it's going to last that long. I think it'll die before it gets here, but you never know. So that's how you would do that. You can do the impact times, kind of like you see on TV whenever they do the draw. It's just basically the same thing. You can draw it in any direction you want. Of course, the storm's not moving this direction, but if it were, you could put in the speed and get the direction. So, or get the times. Some of you might be curious what this is. This blue polygon. This is a mesoscale discussion. If you click on it, of course, for some reason there's no text. Why is there no text? Either that's a glitch or there's something wrong. But if you want to see the text, then let me show you how you can view the text. Let me do something real quick. I'm going to turn the screen off temporarily, and I'm going to pull up my weather and get some of my other stuff out of here. Alright, let me turn the screen back on. So this is the Storm Prediction Center website. Now, if you go to over here to the left column, mesoscale discussions, you can see this mesoscale discussion if you want to read it. SPC recently updated how they write their discussions. It's much more detailed now, and then you can view the actual discussion. That's what the text from RadarOmega is supposed to be showing. It's supposed to show that text from down here, this text here, but for some reason it's not coming through. So it is what it is. Isolated large hail and wind damage will be possible over the next few hours, and that's essentially that. But we're not here to discuss SPC. We're here to discuss RadarOmega. Just wanted to give you an alternate source if you're not able to see this working. If you want to turn mesoscale discussions on or off, you can go to Outlooks and Monitoring. You can go to Severe Weather, and you can go to Mesoscale right here, and you can turn this off if it's bothering you. Or if you want to see it, you can turn it back on. Let me go back to chat real quick and see if you guys have asked any questions. Doesn't look like I'm seeing any. Let me go check YouTube because I don't know if maybe the chat's not working. No, nobody's talking. Okay. Let me go check on Facebook real quick. Let's see, what we got going on Facebook? One comment on Facebook, and that's from our automated chat, so that's okay, cool. So there's not actually any chat messages so far, and we still got some people watching, so let's go over a little bit more. Let's look at some more questions. Um, let's take a look. We answered Drew's question. So, Drew, if you're watching this after the fact or if you're watching right now, hopefully that answered your question. All right, let's take a look. Okay, I see, Logan, I see your comment here from a few days ago. And it says you're getting RadarOmega this weekend, and it's already passed this weekend. So, hopefully, you're enjoying RadarOmega, and hopefully, we can go over some things with you here. Feel free to ask any questions if you don't understand what's going on. And then storm reports. Okay, so G.A. Wells asked a question last week, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it for everyone. If you see green dots all over your map, I'm going to show you guys what that is. So let me go data overlay, spotter network. So if you go down to data overlay and then spotter network, you can turn the spotter network layer on and off. Of course, if you want it to be off completely, you can just do this. You can do last 15 minutes, or I mean last 5, 15, 30, or for the last hour. So these are the dots that have been active over the last hour. And then you can click on the dots and you can see who the dot is. I don't ever use my dot anymore so that people don't know where I am. But that's something that you can use to see where people are if you'd like to do that. I like to keep it off because, like the commenter on one of the other videos said, it's kind of distracting. So I don't use it. Oh, hey Mark, sorry about the confusion on the starting. I was having trouble with Restream because I'm using Restream.io, and it was giving me some trouble. Trying to, I had trouble streaming yesterday, and I had to cancel my. I had to disconnect YouTube, and when I disconnected it, it disconnected the event on Restream from the event on YouTube, and so I had to make a new event. But I'm glad you were able to find the new one. Really appreciate you watching and being persistent. Mark, if you've got any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I'll try to answer them. I'm going to try to go through the menus here and show you all the different features, kind of like I did in the other videos, but we're doing it live, so you have a chance to interrupt me and ask questions. If I'm quiet for a few minutes or for a few seconds, it's because I'm thirsty and I've got this Route 44 Big Red from Sonic sitting on my desk and I'm drinking it. All right, let me just kind of go over the general user interface here. It's changed a lot, but it hasn't changed that much. It's kind of like the same, but it looks different. So we'll kind of go over that. Obviously, the hamburger icon over here gets you to your menu. That's what that's called if you were curious. It's the same on iOS and Android. It's just the 3 lines. That'll get you to all the different settings, and then you can contract all of these. You have a question about the storm report section? Okay, we can go take a look at the storm reports. Let me go to data overlay, because I think that's where it is. And here's storm reports. So there's the storm reports. Now, I will say the storm reports only go back so far. It says in the app that you can search up to 20 years in the past. However, if you go onto the RadarOmega website, they actually contradict that on the website. Let me pull up the website and show you guys real quick. If I can find it. I found it the other day when someone had a similar issue. I don't know if it was you that had this issue, but let me go see if I can find it. Let's see. There we go. So if you have the alpha subscription, let me pull this over so you guys can see it. So you can see that there's a discrepancy between what's shown in the app and what's shown on the RadarOmega website. Let me highlight it in case you guys can't see what I'm talking about. Right here, 10-year storm report archive. Okay, cool. There's a delay on the stream, so if I'm answering late, that's why. But this is essentially the discrepancy. If you look on RadarOmega on the app, it shows 20 years into the past. Last date available April 11th, 2003. But in reality, it says 10 years, and I've found that it really only goes back 10 years. So that's something if you remember the RadarOmega Facebook group, I would go on there and report the discrepancy. I haven't had time to do it. But if you remember that Facebook group, feel free to go on there and report the discrepancy between the two, and maybe they'll fix it. Or maybe they'll explain it better, but it only goes back 10 years. So if you were looking at Superstorm Sandy, that was more than 10 years ago, so it probably won't show up, if I'm being honest. I might be able to point you in the direction of another source of data, but I'd have to look it up and find out. So if you're interested, I'll see if I can find a source of storm report data other than RadarOmega. And if you're interested in looking at the reports from that far back, but I'm going to have to research it first. Let me turn off the little drawing I made. Let's go back to... why do some spotters show up, but not very many now compared to before? Like Ryan Hall can see more than I see in a location. That's from Mark. For those of you watching on other platforms, so it really depends, because Spotter Network is completely separate from RadarOmega, RadarScope, and whatever. You can view Spotter from whenever you can go back and view all. I can go back and view my personal history on Spotter Network, going back as far as I've had an account on Spotter Network. But the main difference that you're going to see between how many show up is the time interval between the time that they are offline. For example, if I were to turn my dot on while I'm out chasing, right? I don't do it anymore, but if I were to do that, and then I open up RadarOmega, or actually RadarScope, because RadarOmega doesn't report spotter locations. So if I'm opening up RadarScope and I'm reporting my location, and then I close RadarScope and I don't open it back up again for an hour, for example, it's only going to show me. It's going to show me as being on there for 15 minutes after I close it, or 5 minutes, or whatever the interval is for the app. That's why if you look on Spotter Network here, active spotter settings. So if you want to view more, you would have to pick the last 60 minutes, and that will show you more dots. But as you can see, they're different colors. So like this one, I'm not trying to, he's got his phone number and everything in there. It's not, you guys can see it too, but I'm trying to find one that doesn't have any personal information in it. That's going to be kind of difficult, I guess. I guess it doesn't really matter, because all you guys can see it too. Here's one. So this guy, his tells you it was last updated 2023-411 at 0024Z, which was 3 minutes ago. So if he gets in a dead zone or something, and he's no longer able to report his location from RadarScope, or from wherever he's using to report his location, once that time limit passes, 5 minutes, whatever you set it to, that dot's going to disappear. In this case, I've got it set to 60 minutes, so his dot's going to go from green to some other color once it goes beyond 5 minutes since the last update. So if you're watching Ryan Hall, odds are that if I don't know what he's using, because I don't really watch Ryan Hall. I don't really watch a lot of other weather channels, to be honest, because I just got too much other stuff going on. But that's probably the reason why. To sum up the answer to your question, it's probably just how they have their app set up and whatnot. Um, as far as the other question from, let me go to YouTube and see what your name was. It doesn't show your username. Okay, that's why it doesn't show up on Restream. Okay, so if you want to see current with live video stream, then let me zoom out here. I don't know if there's anybody actually doing that. Let me turn off spotter because you can see how absolutely crazy all these dots are. Okay, so I guess I don't have it turned on. Let me go look. There is, where's it at? Display, is it under display? I really don't remember because I don't really use it. No, it's not here. MRMS model, satellite, it's none of those. Outlooks and monitoring, data overlay. There's a feature on here, maybe it's under Cyclone port. If we turn the Cyclone port and Project Mesovort on, maybe it's just Cyclone port, but if you turn these two things on RadarOmega specifically, you can see these little icons here, like this one up here, and you can see a live stream. Now this is clearly a fixed location, and there's 6 people looking at it right now. But some people have it set up in their vehicle, and they live stream from their vehicle as they're moving around. Excuse me. So let's zoom in on this one. Who's this? This is also looks like a fixed location. So you just kind of have to click around to these different ones to see. This is Perry County Weather Watchers. They have a fixed camera and a fixed location. There's a few people that are doing live streams and you can watch them, but that's just you kind of have to figure out who's around and who's active on the map. They have actually got 3 cameras. How about that? I don't think I've seen that before. But yeah, if you're looking for current with live video stream, that's how you do it. You got to turn on the Cyclone port and Project Mesovort. Although if you do Mesovort, I think it's just Cyclone port. I've actually considered joining the Cyclone port network, but it's kind of a process, and I just haven't gotten around to doing it. It actually costs money to do that. You have to pay for the equipment and stuff, so I haven't actually taken the time to do it. I mean, if you guys who watch on YouTube and Facebook are interested in me doing that and you want to watch through RadarOmega, I may consider it in the future, but it may not be till next year because it's just not in the budget for me. Although I would like to have all the sensors and stuff, the weather data. I'll leave it on for you guys to look at, and then let me close this. Let's see. Mark, if you got any other questions, let me know. As far as this other person who doesn't have a name on here, I'm not sure. Not sure why the name's not showing up on YouTube or on here, but excuse me. That's that. So let me go, since I've answered a couple of those questions. Unless you guys have more questions, I'm gonna go look at some more of the different features on here. And kind of go over them as an overview to my previous videos that I did last year. So you can manage your user profile here, and you can manage your subscription here with the G that's kind of pointing up. That's kind of a strange icon, but it is what it is. Next to that is your data selection tool. So that's what I call it anyway. You can pick from radar, either single site or multi-radar, multi-sensor, which shows you basically the entire country. You can pick models. You can pick which model you want, either the CAMs, regional, global, or the tropical models, satellite, and forecast. And then let me see, you've got a question over here. Is there any chance if you can input a date for storm data within the past 10 years, it's not taking any dates for you? I'm not sure if it's me or a glitch in the app. My name is Rob. Okay, Rob, cool. Yeah, I can try that. Let me go look. Data overlay, storm reports, and then let's do tornado, because that's kind of what everybody likes to see is the tornado reports. Although we could probably do spot or hail. Let's do hail and tornado because today's a hail day. Let's do over the last 24 hours. And then let's do a date range search. So there were some tornadoes over the last month. Let's do back to March 21st. I don't remember. 20th? Let's go back to there. And then go all the way up to today, 410. And then let's hit the search. We'll do over the previous. Let's see. Let's click it and see. All right. So we actually have a few storm reports. There's some by Elk City. We have a 1.7 inch hail report here. Train spotter remarks first from Twitter. So I'm guessing that's from the SPC Storm Report Archive. I'm going to block this Twitch chat. Okay, is there any chance you can put a date? Yeah, so reload historical radar data. So you could actually load the... Okay, that's cool. It's gonna load historical radar data for that time. That's pretty neat. I didn't know that was in there. So those are a couple reports just from today. Let's go here. This is also from today. Let's go look. Here's some tornado reports. So these are all the tornado reports, probably from that outbreak we had. Here's the Little Rock tornado. So this report was on 3/31 at 2:18 in Breckenridge, Arkansas, in Pulaski County. NWS storm survey, high-end EF3 tornado with max winds of 165. And then if we wanted, we could look at the radar data for that. So it does seem to be working for me. Maybe it's just the settings that you've picked. I'm not sure. I'd have to. I don't know. Yeah. What's this 2.7? Oh, that was from March 23rd. Okay. I remember that. I was on that storm, but we missed it. I missed that hail. I'm glad I did, because that would have went right through the windshield at 2.75 inches. Let's see. Let me go back to the storm reports. I would take a look at your settings and just kind of pick from all of these. I mean, time interval. I'm not sure why that turned off, but and just pick them. I guess that, oh, it resets everything. So, yeah, 24 hours. Oh, nice. You tried it. Okay, cool. Yeah, the delay in the stream between you hearing what I'm saying and me reading your chat messages is kind of awkward. But I'm glad that it worked. You're very welcome. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them either now, or you can go to any of my previous videos after the stream and you can type in your comment and I'll try to answer it as soon as I can. Hopefully we get some more severe weather. This storm up here in Oklahoma is still going. I'm kind of impressed with it, seeing as how it's moving south. It doesn't look like it'll hit where here in Wichita Falls, though. So I guess we'll find out. All right, well, let me continue going here then. So we have radar. I don't really use MRMS, but I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. So this is MRMS. It shows you radar. It's basically just like a composite of every radar site in Canada and in the United States. I don't think it goes outside of that. I don't think it does. So MRMS isn't very good for chasing. I mean, if you like to use it because you just want to see an overview, that's essentially all it's really good for, in my opinion. But if that's what you like to use, then that's cool. I like to use single site, and then you can pick from any of the radar sites across the country. Of course, I'm located in the KFDR. radar range, so that's the one that I'm using, especially since there's active severe weather going on right now. I'm going to turn Storm Report Archive off. So that's single site radar. Let's look at some models. I kind of want to show you guys the HER from earlier. So just to be clear, you go up here, go to models, and then convection allowing, and then that's where the HER and NAM 3 kilometer are. And then you can pick all of them from here. So if you want to change it, you can just come right here to this little green button, and a little drop down menu comes up, and bam, you're good to go to pick whichever one from any of the ones on that list. You could do 2D versus 3D. I don't really like the 3D thing. It's kind of a gimmicky thing for me. But let me go back to earlier today. Let's go to 18Z, and I want to show you guys. Let's see, 12 hours out is too far. Yes, that's too far. 6. Well, I need composite reflectivity. So right now, let me come on, go close. Okay, I have to click the close button. Down here in the lower right-hand corner, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. You could pick from your different things. There's all kinds of different stuff you could pick from, and depending on which model you've picked, you'll see a different list of things. In this case, I'm going to pick composite reflectivity because I want to show how good the HER did today. It did really well with depicting these storms. So here it is at 7 p.m. now. The timing was off for it. The HER is usually a little late. But notice those severe thunderstorm warnings are right where the HER predicted those storms would be active. And then they die by the time they get to Wichita Falls. Now, it's not 100% accurate because there's that little storm over here that's not on this run of the HER. But it gives you kind of a general idea of what might happen. And I'd say it did a pretty good job today. So that's why they had the severe thunderstorm watch, and that's why they had the outlook upgraded to slight risk today, which I can show you guys that. Let me get off the HER here. I mean, there's other things you can do. Models, satellite. If you want to look at the satellite, of course, it's 740. It's getting dark. But let's take a look at visible. Let's do infrared because it's too dark. Long wave IR. And then you can see the upper level clouds from these storms kind of as they're moving here, moving to the south. So you can see a satellite picture. It looks like they've added some in here. Natural color. I don't like that one. Visible red. That's not really helping. What's geo color? Okay, that's interesting. But you can kind of see the satellite picture, which is pretty cool. I actually like to use Sasquatch for this because it's a little bit more detailed. They have a higher resolution of map or satellite data than does RadarOmega. I'm hoping RadarOmega gets into that one time and makes it a little bit better. But this is fine for now. I don't really use it that often. And then you can look at forecasts. I don't really use forecasts, but you can look and see different forecasts. I don't really like to use it. Let me go back to single site radar here, and we can take a look at our storm. We got some lightning in it. It actually looks like it's intensified there just northwest of Chickasha. But let's continue on. So those are the different items in this menu. You can actually search for a town. Let's search for Cache, Oklahoma. And then it'll take you right to Cache, Oklahoma, which is pretty cool. I don't think this is available on iPad or iPhone. I think it's only on the desktop version. But if you do have if you are subscribed to any of the subscription packages in RadarOmega, you can go and you can download the desktop version, and it will allow you to have this feature. So you can just look at it on your computer like I'm doing now. Let's look for another town, kind of further away. Let's just do Boston, Massachusetts. There we go. Bam, and it'll take you there. And there we are. There's Boston. And Does it pick the radar for you? Or do I have... Nope, it doesn't change the radar. That would be cool if it changed the radar. Frederick, Oklahoma. Let's go back here. That's where the radar is located. Right there at the Frederick Regional Airport. Alright, so that's the search feature. It's very handy. Let's take a look at how many people are watching. We've got 9 people on here. We've got 1 on Facebook, and we actually have 1 on Twitch. Cool. If any of you guys have questions, feel free to ask them. They'll come up in my combined chat here. But if you don't have questions, I'm going to continue kind of going over the revamped user interface. I think it's a little better. It's been a little buggy from time to time, but you know, that'll improve as they find the bugs. A lot of times with software development, you kind of have to just let it out there and let the people find the bugs, because you just don't have enough resources to find every single one of them. So this allows you to see which radar site you're on. Let me get my Epic pen back out here. Let me do this over here. No, I want it over here. Epic pen. I thought I still had it open. I do. Okay. So up here, if you guys can see at the top of the screen in the middle, this allows you to see which radar site you're currently on, what mode the radar is operating in. So this one is currently in volume coverage pattern number 212, precip mode. If there was no precipitation or weather going on, they would usually operate it in clear air mode. I don't remember which VCP that is. If you're familiar with radar, you probably know. I don't know all of the volume coverage patterns, but that's what that is. You can also pick 3D. That's what the 3D looks like. I think it's kind of silly, so I don't really use it. You can... Well, they've improved it a little bit. It now actually kind of works. But you can see it's not really all that useful. I mean, I don't find it useful. I mean, you could kind of look at a 3D version of it, I guess, but I prefer the 2D. It's just more useful to me. So that's what that does. And then over here you have your alerts, of course. I'm sure everyone's familiar with those. I like how RadarOmega groups them by severe thunderstorm, flash flood, and special weather statement. Makes it a lot easier to find what you're looking for. And then you can just go and you can click them. If you click the globe, it'll take you directly to that storm, which is pretty cool. Even if you're not like on that radar. Let me just give you a... Let's switch to Fort Wayne, Indiana, right? And then I'm going to zoom in here to Fort Wayne. And then we're going to go to these severe thunderstorm warnings over in Oklahoma. So this one's in Grady. Let's do this one. So if I click this green Earth icon here, it'll immediately take me over there to that warning and then automatically pull up the radar for that storm. Very useful if you're just browsing and watching the weather. You're not chasing, you're just sitting at home and you just want to look at weather somewhere else. It's really useful for that. That way you don't have to try to find the radar site. This will just automatically find the closest radar site. So that's that. Special weather statements, I mean, I don't really care about those. If I want to turn them off, I think I can. Let me go into Outlooks and monitoring. It might be under weather alerts. Yeah, it's under weather alerts. So if you go to data overlay and then weather alerts, you have storm-based, tropical, and winter. I pick Allison House because Allison House is extremely reliable. It's free. You don't have to sign up for Allison House subscription, as it says right here. And you can just pick them. So you can even change your colors if you don't like the color. If for some reason you don't want the severe thunderstorm warnings to be yellow, you can actually change it. Like if I turn this off, it turns it off. I don't like the special weather statements. I'm just going to turn them off. And that way they don't show up on there. Special marine warnings, I don't really care about those. Flash flood, that's useful when you're out chasing, because you might get a flash flood warning pop up and it's right in front of you. You'll know to turn around before you ever get to where you're crossing the water. So that's very useful for me. Tornado warnings, they're already red. RadarOmega actually has... You can turn the you can make it chime. This is something new. I didn't know that it did this. I just found this out right now. So that's pretty cool. I don't know that I'm going to turn that on, but it is useful for some people. You can have it flash. That's interesting. But yeah, RadarOmega has really come a long way. But you can change the colors. You can just click on the color and you can pick a different one. You can just move this little scale here wherever you want. You can make them purple if you want. You can make them green. Doesn't really matter. And then you just kind of customize it to how you want. The standard is red for tornado, pink for confirmed tornado, and pink with black, I think, for tornado emergency. And then severe thunderstorm warnings are always yellow. I don't think I've ever seen anything other, unless you have GR level X. If you have GR level either analyst or GR level 3, for some reason they're swapped. I always change them back, but that's kind of interesting. You can also do tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches, so I can turn it on and you can see the outline that just popped up. Shows you the severe thunderstorm watch that we're currently under. And since I've got it on, I'm going to click on it. And you can view more information on it. You click the 3 little dots. It gives you the overview in the text, but what I like to look at are the probabilities. Overall tornado threat. Low, less than 5%. Low, less than 2% for strong tornadoes. Wind is moderate at 40%. 75 mile an hour plus wind, low at 20%. And then, of course, you have hail, moderate 50, moderate 30 for 2 inches or greater. And then, of course, you have a combined risk. This is all information you can see on the SPC website, and RadarOmega has done a great job of bringing that information over into their app. So kudos to RadarOmega. But that's information you can view on the Severe Thunderstorm Watch or Tornado Watch. And if you're curious, there's really only one difference between a Tornado Watch and a Severe Thunderstorm Watch. They're essentially the same thing. It's just the probabilities. So if the probabilities for tornadoes are high enough, it'll be a Tornado Watch. And if it's not, it'll just be a Severe Thunderstorm Watch. That's really the only difference. But that's neither here nor there. That has nothing to do with RadarOmega. But there you go. Let's take a look and see. We still have some people watching. Cool. And let's take a look at the next thing. So we went over the alerts. We kind of went over the top here. Here you have the. Let me find my pen. Where'd my pen go? It always disappears on me. Change color to yellow. So down here you have this bottom part. This bottom part is. It used to go all the way across the bottom, I think. Now they've just kind of raised it up and put it up like this, which is cool. But you have your animation, number of frames. Now, I have the alpha subscription, so I can go all the way to 250 frames. It's really not useful, so I don't do it. Usually, I'll just go to a max of, say, 30. And then I hit the play button, and it'll give me 30 frames. And you can watch these storms as they progress. If I wanted to go farther, I could. 50 frames. And you can watch them come up from all the way up there. And you can just kind of watch them evolve. Pretty much storms all across Oklahoma right now. So that's that. And then you can also do the archive, radar history. So you can pick from any date up to a certain point. I don't know what the max is, but you can pick your date, pick your time, and then you can load it. Hey Tommy, this is RadarOmega. I'm not sure if you're asking what site. I don't know what point you're watching the video, but essentially this is RadarOmega. And now we have a question in another language. Let me translate this real quick because I can't read that. Google Translate. Thank you. Omega, thanks. Yes. Look out, we have 60,000 high. Okay, door. Where's Cloud Mountain? Quite black. How about lightning, cumulus clouds? Quite strong lightning and severe storms. I'm guessing you're in Spain, or where are you located at there, Jay? Hold on. Let me translate this. Tornado warning may be issued in the northern United States. The United States is raining, which warning should be issued. I'm not really sure what you're asking or saying. I'm using Google Translate in line here, but I'm not following you. Anyway, but yes, this is RadarOmega. Thank you, Jay, for your comments. I really appreciate them. I just don't know what you're trying to say. So that's this. You can pick your 50 frames or whatever. I usually just go 14 or 21 or 30 or whatever. Let's go 21. Here's your location. I'm not going to click that. It's not going to do any good, but I don't want people knowing exactly where I am. It wouldn't work anyway because it doesn't work well with location on Windows. You can do a screenshot. That's what this little icon is for. You can save a screenshot of your current thing. If you're playing, if you hit the play button and then you hit this, it still says save screenshot. Interesting. Okay, well, it used to be you could save a video. I don't know if it still does that. Now this is your inspector tool. This little magnifying glass with the little bar chart on it, which is kind of an interesting icon. I kind of like it. It shows you the DBZ or whatever. So right now we're in high res reflectivity. If I change this to, let's do where's VIL? There it is. So if I change it to VIL and we look at this, 75 kilograms per meter squared. I would say this is probably hail. I mean, that's probably why they get the severe thunderstorm warning there. Definitely hail in there. That's kind of how you use that to tell. There's some papers and some charts online that you can search for, excuse me, to kind of give you an idea of what the different VIL values mean. But that's essentially our case here. 71 is probably hail. Let me go back to reflectivity. And so that's our inspector tool. And our storm's got a new update. That's the other thing right here. Let me see. This is very useful in the field. I'm going to get my pen. I'm going to make the size smaller, though. Right here, but specifically the time. I always try to pay attention to this in the field. If this little icon here is not green, if it's yellow or red, that means that it's been a while since you got an update. And you might want to be aware of that, because if I'm out in the field and say I'm along I-44 here south of Chickasha, and let's say the storm is further along, but this is what I'm seeing, and let's say it says 7:30, for example, as the last time I got a radar image, I know that this image is out of date and that I can't use it as a reliable source of information. That's very helpful, especially even if you're sitting at home and you're watching the radar, and maybe there's a storm and it's coming towards you, and maybe your internet went out and you didn't know it, or maybe something happened with the feed and you're not getting an image and you're wondering why the storm isn't moving. That would be why your storm isn't moving. Just check down here and you can see when the last image received was. Let me turn off my illustrations there. You've got these other items here. This tool, I don't remember what this is. Let's click on it. Oh, this is split screen view. All right. So this is split screen view. You can view two different things at once. This is only available, I think, if you have either one of the subscriptions, beta, alpha, gamma. I can't remember which one it's available on. Might be available on all of them. Regardless, that's how you do that. I don't use it. It's not really useful most of the time. We've already done this tool where you can draw the line and kind of predict where it might be. Let's say it's moving 22 miles an hour. And then you get a list over here of different times. And it also tells you the population of the area. This tool is a distance measurement tool, so you can view how far away you are. So if I wanted to, let's say I was in Lawton, I know I'm 36 miles from a heavy part of the storm. And then this icon with the radars just turns on and off the radar sights. I just leave it on. And then this turns on the drawing tool so you can draw. And then you hit the little X and it goes away. And then, of course, this is your radar product selection. You can pick, high-res reflectivity. You can pick from different tilts. Let's take a look at the tilts because those are pretty interesting. Let's pick, okay, so we're in KTLX. Let's pick tilt 4 because it's going to be dramatically different. So tilt 4 shows you the highest that the radar beam went. Because the beam, it goes in a circle and it does the lowest portion of the atmosphere first. When it comes back around, it does the next tilt and goes higher up in the atmosphere until it goes through all of the tilts that are available to it. And once it does that, that's when you get the image. So if you have a composite image on some of these other radar apps, like if you have the Weather Channel app, or if you have Weather Underground app, or any of these apps that make these blurry or like really not so pixelated images where it's all smoothed together, those are usually composite images of all the different radar scans, of all the different tilts. And so those don't give you as much detail, and it's just kind of a general, this is a storm. The basic $8.99 RadarOmega app on an Android phone isn't worth it. Best only on a tablet or PC with a large screen. For most people, that's probably true, honestly. But for me, like, doing stuff like this, showing you guys how to use it, obviously the $8.99 is worth it for me because I can help people. But then again, that goes to your point. I mean, this is a tablet or a PC. Now, one thing I will say is if you're out chasing, I think RadarOmega does a better job with roads. I use RadarOmega when I'm chasing because it has all the roads. It shows you the name of the road or the number of the road, whereas RadarScope doesn't really do that. Of course, RadarScope also costs money. But, for example, let me go down here to Frederick, where there's not really anything. So you can zoom in and you can see what the road names are. So when we're out chasing, if there's a storm, let me get my pen back out. If there's a storm here, for example, and it's going this way, okay, and there's a tornado in here somewhere. Let's just say there's a tornado. Okay, there's a tornado there. If I'm out here chasing this, I want to be, let me get a different color here. I want to be on this road right here probably. But I can see here that the road ends right there, right? If I'm on RadarScope, I might not necessarily see that, or I might not know exactly what road number it is. I think RadarOmega does a better job. And then I know, okay, well, I can probably go up this road, then go over here because this road continues going. Right? That's my east escape route if the storm is going to the northeast. Or if I'm in a real bad situation, I can just drop south. But I'd want to drop south on a paved road. A lot of these out here are not paved. Not really ideal for storm chasing unless, you're crazy. I have been on some of them. Depends on whether it's wet or not. If it's wet and muddy, it's not worth going down because you're going to end up behind. The storm's going to keep going, and you're going to be trying to not get stuck. So that's why I like to use RadarOmega, because it has a really good roadmap, and you can change it to look however you want it to look to suit your eyes or your situation. But yeah, I don't disagree with you, Steve. It just depends on what you're using it for. For most people, you're probably right. So that's the different radar stuff. Let me switch this back to tilt 1. Oh, it did already. Okay. Did it on its own, I guess. Let's see. Those are all of those features. I mean, do you guys have any more questions? Would you like me to go over anything else? I'll wait to see if you guys comment anything else. Let me just take a look at some things you might be interested in. Okay, real great white. Yes, definitely, Steve. I agree. On a big screen, it works really good. I actually like to use it on my laptop in the vehicle. Um, but the problem is, if I use it on my laptop in the vehicle, it's kind of difficult with the location because the location, they haven't quite figured out how to get like a GPS puck to work with RadarOmega with the app yet. So I have to open my phone, open RadarOmega on my phone, and it reports my location to the app on the desktop. Works, but it's, kind of clunky. All right, let me take a look at some of y'all's comments. Real Great White says, I have some questions. So when I see yellow on the velocity, does that mean that there could be a tornado? Okay, let me go back into the radar history to answer your question, because right now there are no storms that are likely producing tornadoes. So let's take a look and use some of the things that we've already talked about as far as storm reports, and I'll go back and show you kind of what to look for, I guess, to see if there's a tornado or not. Because yellow, it doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a tornado. To directly answer your question, but let me go to storm reports. Also, Mark, I see your question about shortcuts. I'm not sure I understand your question. So if you could explain a little bit more about what you mean, I might be able to answer it. So let's go to storm reports for the Real Great Whites question here. Excuse me. I believe that outbreak was on the 23rd. I'm going to turn hail off. We're just going to do tornado. We're going to do 24 hours. I'm going to go back to the 20th of March, and then we'll do the 31st of March. And let's search. And then let's go back over here to Arkansas. They don't show up. That's interesting. Oh, there they go. It just took a minute. All right. So let's take a look at the Wynn, Arkansas tornado, because it's kind of out here. Wait, I want one close to the radar. Cabot. I used to live out here in Jacksonville a long time ago. Let's do this one. So this was on the 31st, Breckenridge, Arkansas. Excuse me, high end EF3, wind speeds of 165. So let's load the historical radar data for it. All right. Okay, so here's, where did it go? Do I have to play it? It loaded and then it went away. This looks like current radar. This is current radar. Okay, come on now. 323 to 3. No, this is 323. I want 331 to 331. 97 sweeps found. Load. Not sure why it changed time on us. There's our storm, it looks like. Nope. Do I have to go further back? I don't think I picked a good time. Yeah, there we go. I needed to change my time. So let's go down to 1 o'clock. And then let's load this. There might be, Mark. Control plus I thought that was a quick way to switch between different radar views. That's not something I've actually been aware of, but if that's the case, that's really cool, and I will figure it out. And then I will show everybody. Let me do... Oh, here we go. Here's the... There are 2 different storms. I think this is the one with our tornado in it. All right, so let's zoom in on Little Rock here. So this obviously is not current. This is from the 31st of March. So here's our tornadic storm. Now you can see it kind of wrap up here. There's a nice little hook on it. And then right there it's producing a tornado. Let me go back. We'll go right here. And then let's look at the velocity. Now, this is... Let's see if they fix this. Or if we're just going to have to go back. Yeah, we're just going to have to go back. Okay. When you're in radar history mode and you pick a different thing, it doesn't stay like it's supposed to. I mean, it should... You should be able to just pick a different product and it'd still be on the same scan, but that's fine. Yeah, this is not a very good. I wish we had storm relative. Well, let's look at storm relative because. But this is not a high resolution version of storm relative velocity like RadarScope has. I wish it was high res. That would be easier. No, that's just not gonna work. Let's go to high res velocity. This is not a good example, clearly. But here's our storm. I guess we can look at it right here. So here we have. Where's my marker? My pencil. You have some red. Oh my god. Why is that so big? Alright. You have some yellow here, or some red here, and then you have some blue. These two colors next to each other combined with the data from the reflectivity. If you go back and look at reflectivity, because that's what you're going to be looking at to begin with, you can kind of see, okay, there might be a tornado in there. This is not a good example, but I mean, your best bet for that is just to see if there's a tornado warning on it. But if there's not, and you think there should be, then maybe that's something that you'll want to look into for yourself to see if there's a tornado. Let's see this one. This one's further south here along 430, which is a loop that goes around Little Rock. You got a nice little hook here. Let's use the drawing tools. So you got a nice little hook here. You get this, and it hooks around like this. There's your supercell. There's the forward flank downdraft. The RFD is back here. This whole thing, and then the tornado is going to be in here. But let me clear all of this. Let's go look at our velocity. And of course we're going to have to play it back because for whatever reason they can't get it to match. Yeah, that's kind of irritating that it doesn't do that, but can we go and look at it up here a little further along in its life? Probably. There were a lot of tornadoes today on this day. Storm relative velocity is really a better tool for this. Here we go out here by Desark. This looks like it might have been a tornado right here. Because you can see the different colors kind of next to each other. Let's go look at, let's see, this is at 3:45, so let's come back to 3:45. To zoom out. That's way past 3:45. Yeah, here we go. Here's a little supercell that looked like it probably produced a tornado right here by Desark. Another good indicator for whether there's actually a tornado ongoing, if it's already doing damage, is going to be under dual polarization, and you can go to correlation coefficient. So we were at what, 3:45? So let me let me play this. Let's go back to 3:45. Kind of hard to tell. There might be some debris right here, but there's just so much else going on. Right here, it looks like there might be a little bit of debris in there. And you could tell by the different colors, but this isn't a real good example. Let me see if I can pull up this. Right here, you can see, sounds like my dog knocked over his food bowl. You can see some different colors. You got all these pinks, oranges here, and then you have some blues and oranges kind of concentrated right here, and it looks like it's right where that hook is. That kind of tells you there might be a tornado in there. These tornadoes, this day wasn't a very good example, but that's kind of how you can see the different stuff. I wish I had a better example for you. I had to go back and think of a day that's still within the radar history of RadarOmega, to give you a better idea. Actually, I could probably look it up on the internet. Hold on. Let's do El Reno 2013 velocity radar. Let me just look under images. Okay, so this is... these are not going to be RadarOmega, more than likely. I'm going to pull this over here. We can look at this one. This looks like it's from GR Level X. And it's maybe some radar trucks. So, this is from... which El Reno tornado was this? Because there were multiple. May 31st, EF5. Yeah, so this is the one from May 31st of 2013. I picked it because it's very pronounced. You can see all these purples here, and there's green. And then you can see all this red on here. Let me draw this. So you have all this green right here. You have this purple colors in here, and then you have all this right here. And then you have this tight little couplet right here. So this whole thing right here is the tornado, and then all these winds are winds that are going out from the tornado. This is a huge tornado. This was probably one of the worst ones we've ever seen. It was an EF5. But that's basically what the radar will look like. The colors might be slightly different depending on what color palette is being used, what app is being used. But that's generally what you're looking for. On weaker tornadoes or tornadoes that are further away from the radar, it's going to be more difficult, but that's basically what you're looking for, is the difference in colors here. Red next to green, or yellows next to purples, or whatever. For RadarOmega, I can't go back into time that far, I don't think, and pull the 2013 data. Otherwise, we could look at it like that. Now, I could do it in, what is it? GR Level X and GR Analyst. And I could pull the radar data from Allison House and go back and grab it and show you. But that takes a little bit of time to do, so I won't be able to do it today. Maybe in a future video, if you guys are interested, we can go back and look at old radar data. Let me go back and look at some of y'all's comments here. Appreciate you, Kevin, for joining on Facebook. Info and support keyboard shortcuts. Okay, Mark, let me pull that up for everyone to see. Rolling fork. Yeah, rolling fork might be a good one. Let me look at some of these other comments. And do I still have a window open here for RadarOmega? I do. Features, user guide. Look at their PDF. Also, I mean, there's really good information on the actual RadarOmega website. Their user guide is out of date, May 29th, 2020. This is nearly 3 years later. So a lot of this is going to have changed. But you're saying that it's info and support keyboard shortcuts. Oh, in the actual app. Info and support keyboard shortcuts. Oh, well, there you go. That's for everyone to see. There's your different keyboard shortcuts. Control +1 is to change to single site radar. Shift +R to select high res reflectivity. Okay. Shift C to do correlation coefficient. And then Shift W to show warnings. That's pretty cool. Okay. Mark, I really appreciate that. Or Steve. No, Mark. I'm getting y'all confused. Yes, it is RadarOmega. I have to go back and look at the comments. Yes, it was Mark. Okay, thank you, Mark. Now I was able to share that with everybody. I never really looked at keyboard shortcuts because I don't really need to use them most of the time. But that's pretty cool that that's there. Outstanding. So, Mark, you the man. Info and support. So let's go. Thank you for. You're welcome, Steve. You're very welcome. Um, how about Rolling Fork? Okay. I'm going to look up Rolling Fork real quick. Thanks much. More comments in there, I guess. Do you win a storm chase? um, that's a completely different question. I usually chase by myself or with a trusted friend. I don't have a tour company. Chasing with other people requires a lot of legal stuff, and I just don't have the resources for that. So maybe one day, whenever I'm older and have more resources, maybe I'll do something like that. But for now, if you want to storm chase with a group of people, your best bet is to do one of the storm chase tours. Tempest tours is good. Silver lining tours, extreme tornado tours, storm chasing tour. All of those are really good options. You can either look them up on Facebook or do a Google search, and you can find the different tour companies. The ones I mentioned, those are the best ones. Those are the ones with the best reputations. I wouldn't go outside of those that I listed, unless there's one that I missed. So Jay, let me look at your comments here. Translate them. I want to know why you didn't give me a tornado warning. It's severe warning for Saturday. Rain is falling and transfer warning. I don't issue severe thunderstorm warnings. That's the National Weather Service. So if you're interested in hearing about severe weather in your area, the best options are local TV media, the National Weather Service website, or Storm Prediction Center. You can go to any of those locations, look them up on Google, and be able to find out more information on current weather. I just try to chase whenever it's possible for me and do these videos here on YouTube and Facebook. Alright, so back to Steve's comment about Rolling Fork. Brilliant idea. Let's go look up Rolling Fork. Gotta remember when it was. I've had so much going on that I just I can't remember. Rolling Fork, I need the date. Unless you guys have the date. March 24th. Okay. Let's go back to March 24th. Which is just a few days before this. Like a week. Okay. March 24th. Let's go from 1 to 8. No, let's go all the way to... Let's go to 0. Let's go to 0 to Z. Oh, that's local time zone. I don't need to go that far then. We'll go to 10 o'clock. Let's load. But I actually need to get off this radar because it's in Rolling Fork, and I could have just gone here. Let's find Rolling Fork. Hey, look, this is a good idea to use the search. Rolling Fork, Mississippi, and here's our tornado reports. So let's look at these. Rolling Fork. I want to try to find the ones on the eastern side of town. 8:07 p.m. 8:07 p.m. This would have been a little later. 8:09 p.m. So we know that the tornado happened somewhere around 8 o'clock. Let's go 1300. So we don't need to go all the way back to 1300. We can go up to, let's go 7 o'clock to, there we go. That should be fine. We'll load those. Actually, I'm going to have to reload them because where in the world is the radar? Man, that happened real far from the radar. KDGYX or KDGX. There we go. All right. Here's our storms. Let's see if we can find. There's our Rolling Fork tornado. There we go. Here we go. Rolling Fork. Let me go back to our comments. Hey, Ronald. Yeah, Kim, it was on 24th. Yeah, exactly, Kim. It's there's a lot of liability with bringing people along. I've heard estimates of a minimum down payment of like 10 grand just to get insurance on a van, for example, for something like that. And that doesn't count all the other stuff. So, yeah, it's just not in the cards for me. I just do it by myself. So here we're looking at Rolling Fork. Um, as you can see, there's our tornado reports. This was really wrapped in rain, and you can tell because there's a circle around it. Let me draw real quick. So this right here, inside this little drop right here is where the tornado is, and this is all the rain that's wrapping around it. You would not have been able to see this unless you were really lucky. You'd have to be pretty much right here to see it, and it's going right through that spot. So not a good place to be, especially as fast as these storms were moving on that day. You pretty much you're just not gonna see it unless you're lucky. So that's our tornado. Let me turn off the drawing tool so we can go and look at the velocity. Now this velocity is going to be a little further from the radar. I'm going to have to go back because RadarOmega, again, can't seem to get the timing right. Oh, yes, Rolling Fork is a perfect example. There you go. So there's Rolling Fork. Let's watch this, right? So there's really broad rotation over Lake Providence right here. Let me get my other pencil. Very broad. This probably had a tornado warning by this time. We could probably load historical warnings, but I'm not going to bother trying to figure that out. And then, let's see. This goes. Look, it starts to get a little brighter. Notice it gets a little brighter here. This is when I would say it's also getting closer to the radar, I believe, because the radar is down here. So now it's going this way. Well, I'm bad at drawing. It's going that way. Notice our tornado reports here, and all through Rolling Fork. This is probably when the tornado was forming or was getting close enough for the radar to be picked up. Let's go back to turn off my drawings here. And then you can see it really picks up steam right here. You can see it intensified very quickly within a few scans. And let's go look at the inspector tool. You can see the winds that it's picking up are minus 62 on one side and 42 on the other. So these are winds going to and away from the radar. That's going away from the radar. That's going towards the radar. So our radar beam is down here in Jackson, and it's shooting back this way and then bringing data back. So that's pretty interesting there to see. It's at the perfect angle to the radar to show to and away winds there. Let me go back to play it, and then you can see that it intensifies pretty significantly right before it gets to Rolling Fork. And that's when you have this tornado report at 7:58. And that's the same time as our radar image here. Notice it's right after. So this would have been a couple minutes after. So somebody probably reported this right after the tornado passed over. Law enforcement. Yeah, tornado was seen near Willett Road. And then here we have NWS Storm Survey. So you see the tornado had gone through there, and they went back and surveyed it, and that's the storm report from the survey. I don't think even the Allison House radar archives go back that far to 97. I can look, but I don't think that they do. Let me verify and see if we can. If I can pull it in GR Analyst, and we can look at it, but I don't think it's available because technology's changed a lot since then. Let's go back to looking at Rolling Fork, kind of trying to monitor y'all's questions as we're doing this. And look at that, right through Rolling. Look at how big that wind field is as it's going through Rolling Fork. Big tornado. And then right here, we got some weird anomaly. I don't know what's going on with that. And then you can see the tornado just continues on and it goes into midnight. And it looks like it cycles there a little bit, or maybe it just continues going. But that's really a really good example of what the radar looks like on velocity during a tornado. This is a big tornado, so it's a really good example smaller tornadoes that don't last that long are a little more difficult to spot on radar. But yeah, this is also probably another good example of looking at dual polarization. So I'm going to look at dual pole, looking at correlation coefficient. This should be a really good example. I think if I remember correctly, there was a pretty significant debris ball on this. Okay, so I'm going to point it out. So here we have these two reports. Let me get my pencil back. We have these two reports of a tornado. And then, as the storm goes on, it's moved off to the northeast, and now we are starting to pick up some debris on correlation coefficient. It's this little area right here. These different colors that are different than everything else around it. Let's continue watching it. And we'll watch the debris, especially right after Rolling Fork. You can see after it moves through Rolling Fork, it really becomes pronounced, which is not something you want to see on radar. You don't want to see this after it goes through town because, I mean, this is just not good right here. This is debris from. It's obvious. It's really sobering to see an image like this, especially after the fact, knowing what happened. But that's how you would spot the radar, or I mean, that's how you would spot the tornado and correlation coefficient. But correlation coefficient is always going to be behind. You're not going to get correlation coefficient until all the radar sweeps have completed, as far as I know. So that's not a good indicator of a tornado until after it's already doing damage, and by that time it's too late. Except for people downstream of the tornado. That's whenever they start issuing tornado emergencies and things of that nature. There was a tornado emergency for Rolling Fork, if I remember correctly, because one, it had been spotted by spotters, and two, they could see the debris on correlation coefficient. Let me go take a look and see if Allison House has tornado data that far back. Let me go into way back radar archive. We'll go KDRK radar. Oh, you know what? We probably do. It says it goes all the way back to 1991. Let me, Kim, I know this is about RadarOmega, but if everybody else is also curious, I don't know how many people are watching. How many people are watching? We got 9 on YouTube. Okay. If y'all really want to, we can go look at it if I can pull it up. Let's see. Gerald was, I think it's definitely 97. I remember that. So let's go look at 1997. 1997. I'm gonna see. I did not realize that this went this far back. What day was that? Gerald Tornado date May 27th. Okay, so let's go to May 27th. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm going through here on my Allison House account. See if I can pull up May 27th. It's gonna go into May 28th because this is on Z time. So we need to do hour 0, and we'll do hour. I don't remember what time of day. I'm gonna try to limit our. Does it say what time of day? I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was around 1 o'clock. I'm just gonna pick 1300. I'm gonna submit this request to Allison House. I gotta wait for it to come through on my email, and once it comes through on my email, I will pull the files, and then I will open up GR Analyst. Let me actually open up GR Analyst now. Here's the little icon for it. Let me get rid of my drawings. Let me pick. Where's Gerald? Let's just do one view here. Here's Waco. There's Bell County. Here's Gerald. Okay, so this is in Williamson County. The KGRK radar would be the closest. Alright, now let me go check my email and see if Allison House has sent me the archive, and it has. Let me go pull the files real quick. Oops. Well, I gotta recopy this apparently because I didn't do a good job. Oh, for some reason it's not working. Why isn't it working? Huh. For some reason the link's not working from Allison House. Well, I was gonna show you guys, but Allison House isn't giving me my data. Maybe I can try it again. Yeah, it's not working. Let me go back. Let me submit this again. Alright. We'll try one more time and see if I can get it to come up. Let me see what y'all are saying on comments. Oh, yeah. You're welcome. I'm going to see. There's the email. Let's see if it comes up. Go to. Yeah, for some reason it's not working. Maybe it just doesn't go that far back, or maybe there's something going on with Allison House right now. They're usually very reliable. I'm going to copy it and put it in a new window. Maybe it just needs to... Nope. Nope, it's for some reason it's not going to work. But I tell you what we can do. I can look it up on Radar. On the internet. Images. Let's see. Here we go. We can take a look at the May 1997 tornado outbreak from NWS Austin, San Antonio. And it gives you some images, and there's a YouTube video on it. Here's the radar loop from that day. So I'll just show you guys the radar loop. This is what we would have been able to see if Allison House was cooperating. But we would have been able to see a much better version of it. But as it stands, that's what we've got. So there's your radar image. Wish we could see the whole thing. The velocity and everything. Oh, here we go. Here it is in GIF format. So you can kind of see how the radar went. It was, they didn't have, I don't think they had high res back then. So this is a lower resolution version. But that's what we've got. There you go. That's the Gerald tornado. Let's go back to, let's close this. So that was Rolling Fork, Gerald. Let's see if you guys have any other questions. Let's see how many people are still on. We've got 11 people on YouTube. If those of you who are watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, if you have questions, feel free to let me know. I didn't have a time limit on this stream. So if you guys want to keep asking questions and keep looking at RadarOmega, we can. I don't have anything better to do. If not, then I can end the stream here in a few minutes, but I'm going to leave it up to you guys. In the meantime, I'm grabbing something to drink because Oh my, my theory on what seems to be a shift eastward of Tornado Alley. Well, that is a good question. My opinion is pretty simple. Um, Weather and climate in general kind of has patterns, um, and I think that yeah, maybe we're seeing more intense tornadoes towards the east, but you also have to consider there's lots of different things in play. It's not just local weather; it's El Nino, La Nina, everything comes into play when it comes to where weather happens. Like this year so far, a lot of this stuff has been further west. There's been stuff east, but there's also been stuff further west earlier in the year than normal, or at least normal compared to the last few years. I think that this year we see a lot more activity in the traditional southern plains, but we're also probably still going to continue to see activity in what is called Dixie Alley. Um, do I think it's shifting? I have no idea. I just think that maybe there's more reports than there were. There's a lot more with social media and whatnot, where we're seeing a lot more people that are impacted, and I think it's just kind of that effect where maybe we're seeing more of it because of technology. Um, that might play into it a little bit, but who knows? That's my opinion. Hey, old man Ferguson. Just you said you just recently got RadarOmega. Know nothing about it, but it should be fun learning. I'm gonna guess you just joined. If you have any questions, let me know. Sometimes you try to pull up reflectivity tilt 1 and you don't get a response. I have not had that problem, but RadarOmega can be buggy sometimes. So I would say one thing that I've done, if it's not giving me what I want, especially if I'm out in the field, just hit the play button and see if it downloads all, because it'll re-download all the data when you hit play, including the very first scan that you're trying to look at. That's what I do if I'm not getting what I expect from the app. I just hit the play button and then I stop it, and then I've got my image back. If not, you can always stop the app and restart it. That's also another option. Let me switch this back to reflectivity. Yeah, Rolling Fork was a pretty significant tornado. Pretty wild. There were some people saying that maybe there might be signs of EF5 damage, but you have to take into consideration building construction quality, not just what the construction is. But yeah, let's see. Oh my gosh. This stream has been going for almost 2 hours. El Reno F5, you missed it earlier. Let me see if I can let's see if I can pull it up. I can go back. No big deal. Go back to 2013. Wait, do we? How did I pull that up? Did I look at it on? I don't think I looked at it on RadarOmega. Did I? Hold on, let's click the button. I don't think this one goes back that far. No, it doesn't. We can only go back to 2022 on RadarOmega. But we can look at El Reno. Let me pull it up on Allison House. Maybe Allison House will start working. Maybe because we're not pulling something up from nearly 30 years ago, maybe it will work. Let me pick May 31st of 2013. We're gonna do. It was during the day, so we'll go from 13 to 0. May 31st, 2013. Let me submit my request. And I need to pick a different radar site because This did not happen in Texas. Let's do this again. Day is the very last day. 2013. You guys can't see what I'm doing. I apologize. But if I can get this to come up, submit. Go to 02, submit. And for some reason, the Allison House website is being funky. Is it my internet? I don't think it's my internet. I think it's being weird. I don't know. There's something going on with Allison House because I can't get it to submit. It's pulling up this. Here, I'll just show you guys. This is what Allison House is doing to me. I'm going back. I'm trying to pull up May 31st of 2013. I hit submit and it just goes here. That's not the normal page that shows up. My guess is that they're having trouble. But I can look up El Reno, or do I still have it open? I might still have it open on here. Yeah, here's El Reno. So this is what it would look like, just normal. Gremlins, yes, definitely Gremlins. Yeah, the El Reno EF5 from 2013. That's this one right here. Was it Tempest Tours, folks? When they bargained for an El Reno, front receiver to Genesis. Steve, I am not sure, and I probably wouldn't comment on it, regardless. Oh, yeah, it's a pretty wild image, isn't it, Kim? I wish we could see it on Allison House, because then you could see a little bit better. Of course, you're commenting, and there's a delay, so I don't know what your emoji is in response to. But let's see if I can get Allison House to cooperate. No, it still doesn't want to cooperate. Yeah, that's is what it is. But yeah, this is El Reno, so it's not on RadarOmega because it doesn't go that far back in terms of its storm or radar data. Yeah, it really is a mind-blowing image. I mean, it's just unreal. This looks like GR level 3 because it's really smoothed over. They don't know why they turned the smoothing on, but okay. Maybe because it's GR level 3 and not analyst. But then over here it looks like it's analyst. This is GR analyst. It's just... yeah, it even says at the top. Because you can't do radar archives with GR level 3. Yeah, you're welcome, Kim. No, not a big deal. I'm happy to do it. We could see some of the other radar images. These are the radar images from the radar truck that clocked the wind speeds from that day. So you can see the pretty ridiculous images from that. Scroll up. Here's the 250 meter resolution radar. Here, let me. I'm gonna put a link to this so you guys can just click on it down in the chat. That's a link to the website if you want to go look more into it. I'm not sure what this website is, but it looks like pretty cool. Let me pull up. If you guys are curious, I'm gonna send the link to Allison House's website down in the chat. For those of you who might be curious about using Allison House, they have all kinds of radar and weather data available for a subscription fee every month. Some of you may be interested, some of you might not be. You'll have to have the proper tools to pull up the data. I usually, if I'm using Allison House, I'm usually using GR Level Analyst um, to pull up different layers of data. But today's video is not about that. I can do videos on GR Analyst in the future if you guys want to. But GR Analyst is $250. So I'm sure that most of you don't want to buy that. I'm a weather nerd, so I bought it a long time ago. And so I just continue to use it. It's very useful, but it also consumes a lot of data when on the road and using AT&T mobile data. So I don't use it as much when I'm chasing. I use RadarOmega because it doesn't consume as much of my very precious data, especially when I'm trying to stream, look at all the weather information all at the same time. Yeah. You guys got any more questions for me? Anything else that you'd like to look at? We can look at whatever you want. It doesn't really matter to me. Weather related, we can look at it. If you want to look at a specific event, we can try to pull it up. If you want to learn more about RadarOmega, we can kind of go through it together. It's up to you guys. I really appreciate y'all watching. Y'all are the best. Got 12 of you watching here on YouTube. We still have a couple of you on Facebook, and we've got one of you on Twitch. I'm not sure who's watching on Twitch. I didn't realize I had followers on Twitch. I'm also streaming live on Twitter. So for those of you who are on Twitter, I appreciate y'all watching too. You are very welcome, Kim. I'm going to try, if you guys are interested, I can try to do these live streams more often. The YouTube channel is growing. Kim, if you are so inclined, please feel free to head on over to my YouTube. Let me put a link to the YouTube. For those of you who are already on YouTube and are going to see this link, I apologize. But I'm going to send a link to the YouTube for those of you who are not on YouTube, because if I can get the subscriber numbers up, then it helps me a lot, because I'm trying to get the channel up to 1,000 subscribers. There's my YouTube channel. For those of you who would like to subscribe, who are watching on Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter, you'll see it down in the chat. I don't think if you're on Twitter, I don't think you're going to see the link, but if you're on Twitch or Facebook, you'll see it. Feel free to go over and subscribe to the YouTube. For those of you who are watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, feel free to hit the subscription button and hit the little bell icon. That helps the channel out a lot. At some point, once I am approved, if I get approved for the YouTube Partner Program, then I can start to do more content. How to use the 4-letter designation? Oh, Steve, yes, that is a very good question, and I actually had to make that change on my own RadarOmega app the other day. So let me go in and see if I can remember where I did it at. I believe it's under radar settings. Let me go take a look. It might not be radar settings. Display. There we go. So if you go under control panel and then display settings and pull up this menu, you click on show tower codes and it will turn them on and off. Hey Tyrus, what is the best radar setting to look at a storm? Well, the best radar setting in my opinion is just the default, which is going to be the radar. You're going to want to pick the radar that's the closest to your storm that you're looking at. And then you're going to want to pick high-res reflectivity like we have turned on right now. Let me go back to normal mode. Let me turn radar history and storm report off. Let me zoom out and come back over here to KFDR. Looks like our storms are dying just like I anticipated. But the closest radar to the storms that are left over here by Lawton is KFDR. I could also use KTLX up here in Oklahoma City. Let me circle these. Am I using the right color here? So this is KTLX, and this is KFDR. But I would use... It looks like the Lawton storm is closer to KFDR than KTLX, so I would pick KFDR. And then just high-res reflectivity. And then if you want to know what direction it's going, and there's no warning on it, you can just hit the play button, and it'll show you where it's going. These are moving due south into a more stable environment, probably, and dying, which is exactly what the HUR said they were going to do earlier today, which is why I did not chase these. I did not want to drive all the way up to Interstate 40, and not for hailstorms anyway. That's why I chose to, and I wanted to do this live stream with you guys. So here we are. But that's the best radar setting to look at, is high-res reflectivity. You also can use high-res velocity to see this, but you know, you got to kind of interpret that one. I think I have some videos on it. We've also covered it on a little bit on the stream on how to do the different radar products. But yeah, thanks for the question there, Tyrus. Steve, I see the thumbs up, so cool. Hopefully that helped you out. Let's see. I'm going to see if there's anything left in here. I don't really use fire weather because it's not something I really care about. Winter weather, we're in spring, so this is irrelevant right now. Summer's coming up, and we can look at tropical weather. Of course, there's not any tropical weather going on, so clicking on it would be kind of silly. Also wondering about how to see how fast a storm is moving. Tyrus, the best way to do... There's two ways to do that. Well, actually, probably three ways. But the third way is probably kind of challenging, so we'll just go with two ways. In RadarOmega, you can turn on storm tracks, which is under radar settings. So you go to control panel, radar settings, and you can show the storm track. If you want, you can turn on the track line. Once you've done that, you can click on the little icon. So for this storm, we click on it. It's moving south at 33. Now, the information here is not necessarily going to be correct. That is the radar guess at how fast it's moving, or what this is actually called is storm cell identification and tracking. And that's an algorithm in the WSR-88D radar. It's not always accurate. And the second way is if there's already a warning on your storm. There's one up here, so let's go take a look at it. Thankfully, we still have some warnings. Wow, this is a pretty vicious storm up here by Lamont, Kansas. Or is this Oklahoma? No, that's Oklahoma. So, for this one, it's already got a couple of warnings on it. Now, this is an immediate... There's two different warnings here. One of them is going to be expiring probably, and then the other one's the continuation. Expires in 34... Okay, so they just reissued it. Anyway, severe thunderstorm warning. When you click on the warning, and you click the three little dots right there, you can actually look at the text, and the National Weather Service has already determined the speed for you. So you can see it says at 8:54, severe thunderstorm was located near Lamont, moving south at 20 miles per hour. And that's probably your best bet for determining how fast the storm is moving. But if there's not a warning, the only other way is using SCIT, which is this little thing right here. This says it's moving southwest at 16 miles per hour. So you can see how that differs from the warning. The warning states it's moving at 20. So it's different. I would go with what the National Weather Service says. But in the absence of a warning, you could just use this as a guess. I like to turn storm tracks off because I don't find them useful, but they clutter up the radar when I'm out chasing. But there we go. Yeah, if you guys got any more questions, I can stay here all night if you guys want. Although I haven't eaten any of my snacks. I brought some snacks in before I started the stream, and I have not touched them. Y'all have been keeping me entertained and distracted. Appreciate you guys. Let's see. Let's go to. I'm gonna wait a little bit because I'm sure y'all with the delay. There's quite a long delay here between the stream comments and the stream being shown live. I see your comment immediately, but you guys are seeing and hearing my voice much later. Still got 12 of you on YouTube and 1 of you on Facebook. Appreciate y'all. I'm going to take a look and see how the... Let's go back here. Take a look at the numbers. Kind of curious. Got a few more subscribers. We're up to 753 now on YouTube. Oh. Man. Let's see. Alright, I'm going to close Allison House. It's not going to work tonight, I'm sure. Hey, Dennis, no problem. If you've got any questions, please let me know. I will try to answer them while we're here. Probably the best time for me. I've asked this question already on the stream, but for anybody that's joined in the last few minutes, if you want me to do these more often live instead of recording it and then showing it, where you just have to comment and wait for me to respond, I can do these streams every week if you want, or every other week. And they don't have to be about RadarOmega. They can be about anything weather related. Of course, if there's a storm chase going on, I won't be able to do the live stream from my computer here in my house. But, we'll be live streaming weather events as they happen out in the field as well. So I really appreciate everybody watching those and watching our already produced content. It's really difficult to make the videos from Selden, Kansas, and Lockett 1 and 2. Those videos are kind of hard to make. I haven't really done any vlog style stuff this year. I find that live streaming is a little bit easier, and it seems like you guys like it more, so I'm going to continue to do that. But in the absence of severe weather, I can do regular live streams if y'all like. I'm gonna play this, let it look at all these outflow boundaries from all these storms today. Let's see if I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about. Let me back this up. Here's a really good view of it right here. Okay, so let's take a look at this last image right here, or this very first image. Let me use the pen here. This right here. Can y'all see this? I'm gonna pick a different color. Actually, this one's easier to see. No, that's not easier to see. Let me make it bigger. This right here. This right here. Those are all outflow boundaries, and you can see them racing away from the storms. That's outflow from the storms. Updraft and downdraft, and then it hits the ground and it spreads out. Sometimes when these collide, if the conditions are right, they can pop up new storms. Doesn't look like that's happening yet on radar here, but that's something else we like to look for when we're out in the field chasing. These are racing south, just like all the other storms today. Tough scheduling in the season. Yeah, I guess it can be. I mean, I can schedule it for every, every week or whatever. But then something happens and I've got to do something different. And maybe I'll have a new thumbnail created that kind of combines both, and who knows. But yeah, you're right. It is tough scheduling during the season. During the off season, during the summer, and during the fall and winter, a little easier because the events aren't nearly as numerous, or at all. Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on in the future when you're looking at the radar. You're not always going to see it. It doesn't always show up on radar. It doesn't always occur. But when it does, you can... I know I kind of cut myself off there. If you were on the ground in front of this, you would notice the wind shift out of the southeast and it get cooler. So if you're sitting at home and you're outside on your porch or you're outside doing yard work and you feel a sudden cool breeze, but there's no rain nearby, it could be because there were storms off in the distance that produced outflow, and now suddenly you have this outflow boundary coming towards you. I've experienced that in real life while out chasing and while not chasing, where storms produce this outflow and suddenly it gets cooler. It's always welcome, especially if it's hot outside. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Now this storm really... It looked like these storms kind of they combined. There were two separate storms. They ran into each other. And then they split back off. And then this one to the right over here died completely, for the most part. Turned into just showers. And then this one is still ongoing. Pretty intense little storm there. 1.25 inch hail. That's probably only in a very small spot. I've found it very difficult in these kinds of storms to find the big hail unless you're just in the right spot. Especially if they're moving in some sort of deviant way where they're not moving the typical motion. These are moving south, where most storms move northeast or east. And these are actually technically outside the severe thunderstorm watch. You notice the severe thunderstorm watch stops right here. It stops right there. This formed outside the severe thunderstorm watch. This is one of the reasons why, if you're looking at the severe thunderstorm watch and you hear it on the little weather radio, it says in and close to the watch area. That's why, because there might be storms that happen outside the watch, even though your county or your town's not in it. That doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to see severe weather. So that's something to keep an eye on going through the spring. Is just because you're not in the tornado or severe thunderstorm watch doesn't mean that you're in the clear necessarily if you're close to it. Now, of course, if you're way up here in Sioux Falls and there's storms way down here, obviously you don't have to worry about it. But if I was in Enid, for example, and I knew there was a severe thunderstorm watch in the county next to me, I would be keeping an eye on the weather. For sure. I mean, who knows? I mean, this is going to go just to the east of Enid, it looks like. And, it very well could have formed a little further west and gone right through Enid. And then if you weren't prepared for it, you might have some hail on your vehicle, or can't do anything about the hail on your house. But, yeah. Just things to keep an eye on. Well, it's after 9 o'clock already. I've got to eat. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask them. I'll stick around. If not, I'm going to end this live stream. And I may put up another poll on YouTube and ask you guys, since most of you watching are on YouTube, if you guys want to watch or want to do this more often, feel free to let me know. And I'll try to do it more often. Either with RadarOmega or some other app, or just watching the weather. I mean, it's up to you guys. This content is for y'all. I don't do it for... I do it because I enjoy it, but At the end of the day, you guys are the ones consuming the content and watching me. Um, and if you guys want to do it every week, then hey, I'll do it every week. And if we can get more and more people on and get more and more questions and get the chat more active, and we can be a lot more entertaining and maybe have more people asking those tough questions, and I can answer them the best I can. But if you guys don't have anything else, I'll wait a few more minutes. I'll probably wait until about 9:15 Central Time, and then if I don't have any, if I don't see any more questions in the chat by then I will I'll end the stream and we can do another one next week if you'd like. I'll put up a poll and see what the interest level is. Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate everyone smashed the like button. I didn't even think about that. And yes, please smash the like button. What do the different Storm Track initial point icons represent? Brandon, that is a great question. I am happy to answer that. Let me go pull them back up. Initial point. So, I think there might actually be something here that we can look at, info and support. Because I don't know all of them, but let me see. Actually, maybe I can pull it up on. Let's take a look at Google. I'm going to Google it real quick because they're pretty standard across all SCIT icons meaning. And I better put radar in front of that so that we know. Storm Track. This is really old. Let's do RadarOmega. I don't see. No, this is just their website. Official user guide. Let's see if it's in the user guide. I'll hide my bookmarks bar. Get us some more space. Well, it's taking forever to load. I don't know why, because I have fiber internet. And it's downloading, and it's downloading. OMG, this is taking forever. Well, I can, while it's loading, I can come back here. I can tell you one thing. Once it starts turning a solid color like this with a number on it, like this one, this means 1-inch hail is being detected by the radar. If you click on it and then you hit the eye, it'll tell you the hail probability, severe hail probability, the estimated max hail size, meso strength, which just ignore that. VIL is 48, so there's probably hail in this storm for sure. But that's essentially what it is. If you see a 2, then it's 2-inch hail. If you see a 3, it's 3-inch hail, etc. And I think the color will change along with it. I'm going to see if they have. This looks like a different. I'm going to put this link in the chat for everybody. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I'm not on Wi-Fi on my desktop computer. I'm on Ethernet, so. But yes, data rush hour probably. I mean, I think the kids are watching TV, so That's probably what it is. Let's see if we can find something about storm tracks in here. So they have the storm tracks, but do they have... You see they talk about this, but do they talk about the different icons? This looks like really old. This must be a really old version of RadarOmega. Man, this is... How old is this? I'm not sure, but this is a really old user guide. And it looks like it's very large. Clearly, this is not the same as it used to be. We'll have to find a different tool, but essentially that's what that is. Will it show a TVS? I believe it does show a TVS, but like on GR Analyst, you can show the TVS icon. Even I think on Radar Scope, I turn them off. I don't use TVS. They are wrong about 90% of the time. It's easier to just look at the velocity for me than to look at the TVS icon. Because that algorithm that makes that icon is not very accurate. Let's see. Oh, looks like we got a new radar image here. 914. Yeah, just got a new one. Let's see. Still got people. We still got 10 people on YouTube watching. No, none on Facebook. Still have 1 on Twitch. Huh. I'm gonna have to go look at Twitch and see who's watching. See if it's one of my kids. That's probably what it is. YouTube seems to be where it's at. Go back to the chat. Yeah, no problem, Brandon. But that's... Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer now. We'll go to 9:20, and if I don't see any more questions, then I'm gonna end the stream. And don't forget to hit the like button, like Steve said. Smash that like button. That definitely helps when you hit the like button, because then it tells YouTube that you like the video, and if a whole bunch of people do it, then the YouTube algorithm will start pushing the video and the channel to more people. Of course, this particular topic is very niche. I can't imagine that many people care about RadarOmega, but I make the videos for those who do. That storm is still going. Going towards... right along I-35 there. Oops, I zoomed in too far. Man, that thing is really going. Check the channel real quick. Let's see if I can turn Epic Pin off. Don't think I'm gonna need it. Just a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna end the stream unless you guys got more questions. Just kind of watching this storm up here in Oklahoma as it progresses southward. Looks like we have some more development here over Red Rock, Oklahoma. Kind of stormy night for some of you in Oklahoma. Even further south into central Oklahoma, looks like these storms are finally dying. Alright, looks like we've got down to 6 people here on YouTube. And I appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you'd like to. And we'll see if maybe we can do another one of these sometime soon. Maybe next week. Maybe on a different topic. I'll put a poll up and see what you guys would like to talk about. I appreciate all of you. And everybody have a good night.